She satisfies. She said my truck was an embarrassment. She told her husband I wasn't coming to Thanksgiving because I'd make their guests uncomfortable. 3 days later, I canceled the check that paid for her house. Every single month for 7 years. Gone. But let me start from the beginning. My name is Walter. I'm 64 years old. I spent 41 years building a construction company in Phoenix, Arizona. Started with one pickup truck and a toolbox. Ended with 300 employees and contracts across the Southwest. When I sold the company 6 years ago, the number on that check had more zeros than I ever dreamed possible growing up in a trailer park in Tucson. But here's the thing about money. It doesn't change who you are. It just reveals who everyone else is. I still live in the same house I bought in 1987, a modest 3-bedroom ranch in Gilbert. The neighbors know me as Walt, the guy who mows his own lawn and drives a 10-year-old Ford F-150. I wear jeans and flannel shirts. I eat breakfast at the same diner every Sunday morning. Bacon, eggs, and coffee for $6.50, plus tip. My wife, God rest her soul, passed 8 years ago. Cancer. She never got to see the company sell, never got to enjoy the retirement we planned, but she did get to see our daughter graduate college, get married, have 2 beautiful children. My daughter, Rebecca. I love that girl more than life itself. When she was born, I held her in my arms and promised I'd give her everything, every opportunity I never had. Private school, dance lessons, a car on her 16th birthday, college paid in full, a wedding that cost more than my first house. And when she married Daniel, I wanted to help them start their life right. So I did something I never told anyone about, not even Rebecca. I set up a trust. Every month, a check went out to pay their mortgage. Their house in Scottsdale, 4 bedrooms, pool, nice neighborhood, the kind of place I wanted my grandchildren to grow up in. Rebecca thought Daniel was paying for it. Daniel thought Rebecca's salary covered most of it. Neither of them knew the truth, that every month, $2,800 left my account and went straight to their mortgage company. I also paid for the kids' private school, set up college funds, covered the property taxes, all anonymous, all through the trust my lawyer managed. Why didn't I tell them? Because I remembered what my father told me before he died. He said, "Walter, never let money become the reason your family loves you. Let them love you for who you are. The money should be invisible." So I kept it invisible. I drove my old truck, wore my old clothes, lived my simple life. And every Sunday, I'd go to Rebecca's house for dinner, play with my grandkids, Emma and little Tommy, help Daniel with whatever project he was pretending to work on in the garage. For years, this worked. I was happy. I thought they were happy. Then things started to change. It began small. Rebecca would make comments about my clothes. "Dad, you really should update your wardrobe." Or she'd look at my truck parked in her driveway and sigh. "That thing is such an eyesore." I laughed it off. That's just how kids are these days. Image conscious. Social media generation. I didn't take it personally. Then Daniel got promoted, some big position at his company. Suddenly, they were hosting dinner parties, networking events. Their circle of friends shifted. Lawyers, doctors, investment bankers. The kind of people who drive German cars and vacation in Europe. I noticed I was getting invited to Sunday dinners less often. Once a month instead of every week, then every other month. The excuses varied. They were busy. The kids had activities. Daniel had work stress. I missed my grandkids. I missed sitting at that dinner table, even if Daniel spent most of the time on his phone and Rebecca seemed distracted. Then came Thanksgiving. I called Rebecca in early November. "Sweetheart, what time should I come over on Thursday? I'll bring that sweet potato casserole your mother used to make." There was a pause, a long one. "Dad, about Thanksgiving. We're doing something different this year." "Different how?" "Daniel's boss is coming. And, some clients. It's kind of a networking thing. Very formal." "That's fine. I can dress up. I've got a nice jacket somewhere." Another pause. "Dad, I don't think that's a good idea." "What do you mean?" She exhaled. Like she was annoyed. Like I was being difficult. "Look, these are important people. Daniel's up for partner. We need everything to be perfect. And I don't think you'd be comfortable. It's not your scene. I sat in my kitchen, phone pressed to my ear, trying to understand what my daughter was telling me. Rebecca, are you saying I'm not invited to Thanksgiving? I'm saying maybe you should do your own thing this year. We can get together the following weekend. Just family. Just family. As if I wasn't family. What about Emma and Tommy? They're expecting their grandpa. They'll understand. Kids are resilient. I wanted to argue. I wanted to tell her that Thanksgiving was about family, not impressing some boss. But I heard Daniel's voice in the background, and Rebecca said she had to go. I spent Thanksgiving alone, heated up a frozen turkey dinner, watched football, told myself it was just 1 year, one exception. Things would go back to normal. They didn't. Christmas came. I was invited, but treated like an afterthought, seated at the far end of the table. My gifts to the kids were opened quickly and set aside for the more expensive ones from their parents. Daniel barely acknowledged me. Rebecca was too busy playing hostess to some couple from his office. I left early. Nobody noticed. In January, I tried to schedule a Sunday dinner. Rebecca said they were too busy. In February, I offered to take the kids for a weekend. She said their schedule was packed. By March, I realized something had fundamentally broken. My daughter was ashamed of me, not because I'd done anything wrong, not because I'd failed her in any way, but because I didn't fit the image she was trying to project. I was an old man in worn jeans and work boots. I drove a dusty pickup truck. I didn't golf or talk about stock portfolios or vacation in the Hamptons. In her new world, I was an embarrassment. I could have told her the truth then. I could have said, Rebecca, I'm the reason you have that house. I'm the reason your children go to that school. I'm worth more than your husband will ever earn. But I didn't, because I wanted to know. I needed to know. Was this really who my daughter had become? So I waited, and I watched. In April, I heard from my grandchildren for the first time in months. Emma called me, crying. She wanted to know why Grandpa didn't come around anymore. She missed me. Tommy missed me too, but he was too young to call himself. I told her I missed her too. That I loved her. That I'd see her soon. I called Rebecca that night. I want to see my grandchildren. Dad, I told you, we're busy. They're not busy. Emma called me today. She's upset. Silence. Fine. Come to dinner Sunday. But Dad, can you please wear something nice? And maybe drive the rental car instead of that truck? Rental car. She wanted me to rent a car to come to her house. Her house that I paid for. I should have exploded right then. But I didn't. I stayed calm. Why does it matter what I drive? Because Daniel's partner is coming over. First impression matters. I thought Sunday dinner was family time. It is. But we're combining it with a little get-together. Look, if it's too much trouble, we can reschedule. There it was. The escape hatch. She was hoping I'd take it. No, I said. I'll be there. Sunday came. I put on a decent shirt, drove my truck anyway, parked it right in front of their house where everyone could see it. Rebecca met me at the door, and her face told me everything. Disappointment. Frustration. That look parents give children who don't follow instructions. I'd seen that look 1,000 times. I just never expected to receive it from my own daughter. Dad, I asked you to drive something else. This is what I drive. It's embarrassing. It's a truck. It's a piece of junk. And Daniel's partner is going to think we have some kind of poor relative. Poor relative. I looked at my daughter. Really looked at her. The designer dress. The jewelry. The house behind her that she didn't pay for. The life she didn't earn. Where are my grandchildren? They're upstairs. Look, maybe you should just go. Excuse me? You're going to make things weird. You're already making things weird. I told you this was important, and you couldn't even do one simple thing. I heard voices inside. Laughter. Glasses clinking. A party happening without me. On a Sunday that used to belong to family. Rebecca, I'm your father. I know that. But you don't have to act like it's the 1950s. Things are different now. We have a certain lifestyle, certain expectations. And you don't fit. I don't fit. The words hung in the air between us. Is that what Daniel told you to say? Daniel didn't tell me anything. This is me. This is how I feel. You embarrass me, Dad. Your clothes, your truck, the way you talk about the old days like anyone cares. I've worked hard to build this life, and I can't have you ruining it. She'd worked hard. She'd worked hard. I took a step back, looked at the house, the cars in the driveway, the manicured lawn, the life I'd financed without a single thank you. Goodbye, Rebecca. Dad, don't be dramatic. We can meet up next weekend. No, we can't. I walked back to my truck, got in, drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw her standing in the doorway, already turning back to her party before I reached the corner. The next morning, I called my lawyer, told him to stop the mortgage payments, stop the school tuition, stop everything. He asked if I was sure. I said I'd never been more sure of anything in my life. 3 weeks later, I got a call from Rebecca. Not, "Hi, Dad. How are you?" Not, "I'm sorry about what happened." No, "Dad, there's been some kind of mistake with the bank. Our mortgage payment bounced." That's not a mistake. What? I've been paying your mortgage for 7 years, Rebecca. The trust your mother and I set up. You never knew. But now you do. And I've stopped it. Silence. Long. Heavy. You've been paying our mortgage? Since the day you moved in. But Daniel said what? That he could afford a $400,000 house on his salary? That private school for 2 kids just fit in the budget? You never questioned it because you didn't want to know. It was easier to believe you'd earned it. Dad, you can't just stop. We'll lose the house. Then you'll lose the house. The kids' school has already been notified. The tuition funds have been redirected to a college scholarship in your mother's name for students who actually appreciate help when they receive it. Dad, please. I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. Yes, you did. Every word. We can work this out. Just come to dinner. We'll talk. I'm done coming to dinners where I'm not welcome. I'm done renting cars so I don't embarrass you. I'm done pretending I don't see how you look at me. It was Daniel. He pressured me. He said you were hurting his image. Then Daniel can pay his own mortgage. I hung up. Over the following weeks, the calls kept coming. From Rebecca, from Daniel, even from their lawyer, threatening some kind of legal action. My lawyer laughed at that, told me I had no legal obligation to pay for anything. The trust was discretionary. I could start or stop payments whenever I wanted. The house went up for sale 2 months later. Couldn't cover the payments without my help. They moved into an apartment. The kids transferred to public school. Rebecca called me one more time, crying, begging, "Dad, I've lost everything. You've lost the things I gave you. There's a difference. How can you be so cruel?" I'm not cruel, Rebecca. I'm honest. You didn't want me in your life. You made that very clear. I'm just respecting your wishes. I want you in my life now. Because you need my money. Because I miss my father. I wanted to believe her. Part of me still wanted to fix everything. To go back to those Sunday dinners when she was young, when she still thought I hung the moon. But I'd learned something about love. Real love doesn't require you to change who you are. It doesn't ask you to rent a different car or hide your worn jeans. It doesn't call you an embarrassment. Call me again when you can say that without needing something from me. I hung up. Months passed. Summer turned to fall. I spent my days at the diner, at the hardware store, working on projects around the house. Simple things. Good things. Life moved forward. Then one October afternoon, my doorbell rang. Emma stood on my porch, 12 years old now. Tall, looking more like her grandmother every day. Behind her was a woman I didn't recognize. Turned out to be her friend's mother, who'd driven her here. "Grandpa, can I come in?" I couldn't speak. Just opened the door wider. She hugged me, held on tight, started crying. "I'm sorry I haven't visited. Mom said you were angry at us. She said you didn't want to see us anymore." "That's not true, sweetheart. I always want to see you. I know. I figured it out. Mom and Dad fight all the time now. About money. About the house. About everything. And Mom keeps saying it's your fault, but I don't believe her. I made her hot chocolate. We sat on the couch. She told me about school, about her friends, about how different everything was now, how her dad moved out last month, how her mom cried every night. "Grandpa, are you really rich?" Mom said you were pretending to be poor all these years. I have money, yes. But money doesn't make you rich, Emma. Love makes you rich. Family makes you rich. I had both, and I didn't need to prove it with fancy cars or big houses. Then why didn't you tell us? Because I wanted you to love me for who I am, not for what I have. She thought about this, nodded. I love you for who you are, Grandpa. I had to look away, blink a few times. I love you too, sweetheart. She visited again the next week, and the week after. Her friend's mom kept bringing her. Bless that woman's heart. Eventually, Rebecca found out. She called me, furious. You're turning my daughter against me. I'm spending time with my granddaughter. Something you wouldn't let me do. She comes home talking about how great you are, how you're the only one who really listens. Maybe you should try listening to her too. I don't need parenting advice from you. Then don't call me. She hung up. The calls stopped after that, but Emma kept visiting. And eventually, she started bringing Tommy, now 8 years old and full of questions. Grandpa, Mom says you're punishing her. Is that true? No, buddy. I'm just not helping someone who doesn't want me in their life. But she does want you. She just doesn't know how to say it. When she figures it out, I'll be here. 3 more months passed. Then, on Thanksgiving morning, I heard a knock at my door. Rebecca stood on my porch. No makeup, hair pulled back, wearing jeans and a simple sweater, looking more like the little girl I remembered than the woman who'd told me I didn't fit. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She looked around my house. The same furniture, the same photos on the wall, the same life I'd been living since she was a child. I've been going to therapy, she said. After Daniel left, after everything fell apart, I started seeing someone, trying to figure out how I became this person. I didn't respond, just listened. She asked me to describe my childhood, and I told her about you, about how you worked 3 jobs sometimes to give me what I needed, how you showed up to every recital, every game, every parent-teacher conference, how you never missed a birthday or a holiday. Her voice cracked. And then she asked me why I pushed you away, why I was ashamed of someone who'd given me everything. Tears started falling. And I didn't have an answer, Dad. I still don't. I got so caught up in impressing people who don't matter that I forgot the one person who always mattered. She looked at me. Really looked. I'm not here for money. I don't want you to pay for anything. I want my dad back. I want Sunday dinners again. I want Emma and Tommy to know their grandfather. I want to be the daughter you deserved all along. I thought about my father's advice, about invisible money, about letting family love you for who you are. I thought about the past year, the anger, the hurt, the silence. And then I thought about Emma, about second chances, about what it really means to be a family. There's turkey in the fridge, I said. I was going to eat alone, but I suppose I have enough for 2. Rebecca smiled through her tears, the first genuine smile I'd seen from her in years. Can I help you cook? You can set the table. Same place you always used to sit. We cooked together that day, talked for hours, not about money or houses or image, about memories, about her mother, about the future. She didn't ask for a single dollar, didn't mention the mortgage or the school or any of it. When she left that night, she hugged me at the door. Thank you, Dad. For what? For not giving up on me, even when I deserved it. I watched her drive away. An old Honda now. Nothing fancy, nothing impressive. Just my daughter. Going home, I stood on my porch for a long time after that, looking at my truck in the driveway, my simple house, my quiet street. My father was right. Money should be invisible. But love should be loud, obvious, impossible to miss. Rebecca calls me every Sunday now. Sometimes she comes over with the kids. Sometimes I go to her apartment. It's small, crowded, nothing like that big house in Scottsdale. But when I sit at her table, I'm not embarrassed. I'm not hidden. I'm not asked to pretend to be something I'm not. I'm just Dad, just Grandpa. And that's worth more than any house I ever paid for. So if you're watching this, and your family makes you feel like you're not enough, like your clothes are wrong, your car is wrong, your whole existence is an inconvenience, remember this. The people who truly love you will love you in jeans and flannel. They'll love your old truck and your simple house. They'll love you on your worst days, not just the ones where you might impress their boss. And if they can't do that, if they need you to change to fit their image, then maybe it's time to stop paying their mortgage. This is Walter, voice of father, and I'll see you in the next one.